Hello everyone, this is Josh from Chip Theory Games, and I'm going to take you through unit deployment. This is a two-part phase. The first part is building or identifying which units you're going to select for deployment, and then the second part is developing your stack of units so that you can deploy them. And there's an importance to both of those, so let's just go through this really quick. The first part is based on your command points, how many units and which units you're going to take and deploy for this wave. Command points are determined by the wave itself. As the wave grows, command points grow usually. Events can take that number down a bit, or affect it or increase it. I guess it can alter the number by any wave event. And then certainly your faction, some factions, especially the heirs, can affect your total command points that you have available. So based on that, let's assume this is wave 1 and it's 4 command points at our disposal. So we have a couple units where we could literally just take that single unit at its base unit side, and we could use that unit. I'm not going to do that. We're going to do a combination of Humminger and Dashers. So we're going to say, for our 4 command points, which is the yellow number, we're going to do 1 Humminger and 2 Dashers. Now, once we've identified that that is what we're going to send out, now we have to decide the order that we want them to go in. And that can be done where we group certain units together, which we would stack them, or we can say, no, we want these as individual units, and then we prioritize them in a larger stack so that we know which way they're going out. So let me just show you how that works. The Dasher, for instance, let's just say that's the quick unit. When I group units together, I have to group them with the slowest unit on top, so that it can't run a so a fast unit couldn't run slower units below it quickly to the end, and then usually the slower units are harder hitting, and then that would be quite unfair. So the slowest units have to be on top, but there's often a lot of 2-move units, so you can sneak some things into your opponent's territories. In this case, we're going to go ahead and stack the 2 Dashers. So I'm going to put those together, and then I'm going to throw the health of the top Dasher underneath that stack. All right, and now I'm determining that I want to bring the Humminger out as its own, excuse me, its own unit. So I'm putting health under that too. And now I have to just decide which unit is going to deploy first. And based on the move speeds of both of these, or range, I want that Dasher going first so that I don't create a blockade by moving that Humminger initially, because you'll see my pathway doesn't allow me to split it up quite so quickly. So we're going to put the Dasher on top, and the Dasher group on top, and the Humminger underneath. And how I deploy these is on the onslaught phase. I'm going to be able to move my Dasher, which is 2 Dashers together, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to move my Humminger 1, 2, and then I would run through my attacking if there was anything to attack. But I'm off to the races here, and because the Dashers are stacked, that Dasher will get attacked first, and once it's the top one, and once it loses both its health, that one comes off, and now we restack for the unit underneath. So there's a number of different ways I could have done this. I could have prioritized just individual units on all 3, and then said, you know what, I want to stack them like this. And now that tells me and my opponent that I have 3 individual units. They're all going to go out and move individual from one another. The reason I may do that versus stacking is because as I get into areas where there's lots of path, my units can fan out. And so if a unit is blocking this area, I can run the other unit around it. If they're stacked up, I'm not going to be able to split my units up. They have to remain grouped. And that can be a problem if I'm trying to surround an opponent here and deal damage to him from potentially 3 different ways when he can only attack back on 1. So yeah, there's definitely reasons to group, but also reasons to keep your units separate. And often those will become more apparent as the game goes on and based on the units that your opponents are sending your way. Yeah, that gives you a quick overview of your unit deployment. We'll catch another video on a quick playthrough of the first few waves, hopefully either at or shortly after Essen. Thanks, everyone.